I want to ask you about what the remedy should be. The plaintiffs here, they walked into the federal district court and they got what effectively had the effect of a universal injunction, not only getting relief for themselves, but relief that applied coast to coast. Is this something that we need to be concerned about a singular federal district judge coming in and issuing what is effectively a universal injunction against a government policy?
Yeah, we're not talking about banning the drug entirely. We're talking about those 2016 and 2021 changes. So, what an effective remedy would be to undo those and send it back to the agency, just like the Supreme Court may issue a ruling and send a case back down to a lower court for more examination, to take another look at the evidence, to determine how the law applies in light of this further information. So, if here the Supreme Court says, in fact, this does appear to have been arbitrary and capricious, then the answer is that the FDA needs to take another look. Get more studies if necessary, look more deeply at the existing studies, and then make a determination that isn't arbitrary and capricious, that takes a full, reasoned evaluation of the studies that we have, explains its decision making, and if necessary, gets more studies, because I think we can all agree that women's safety here is paramount. And that's exactly what plaintiffs are focused on. That's exactly what the FDA should be focused on. And so let's just do that.
Catherine, the implication, I think the implication of what you're saying, logical conclusion, is that if that were to happen, and if the FDA does do a kind of resurvey, reexamination, or new studies that ultimately do prove safety, that you would be okay with a return to at least to the 2016 standards and potentially 2021. That you would be okay with that there is a world where the FDA can make that case to satisfy your standards, and then you would be accepting of the continuing use of the drug in clinics around the country?
To be clear, I am not I'm not in favor of abortion across the board. I believe there is always a better solution to a woman who is in a tough situation. It's a question of getting there, and that's going to take a lot of legal change, societal change. We have a long way to go. But yes, that would satisfy this immediate concern here, because then at least we would know that the FDA had done its job and that women would be more protected from the effects of something that the FDA itself is saying, well, if something goes wrong, head for the ER.
Julia, you get an answer to Zach's question if you'd like to take that as well.
Let's be very clear that this is part of a broader strategy to try to ban all abortion nationwide, starting with this medication that's used in most U.S. abortions. And I also, in response to the question, I want to focus on the profound mismatch between the harm that these anti-abortion doctors are claiming and the remedy they're seeking. These folks went to court saying, we are injured because perhaps hypothetically one day we might encounter a medication abortion patient and we might have to provide care to them. We might have to complete an abortion in violation of our conscience. As I mentioned earlier, they completely ignored that federal laws already protect healthcare providers who want to opt out of healthcare that they morally oppose. But even setting that aside, the injury, this speculative, hypothetical injury that they're claiming, could not possibly justify the remedy that they're seeking. I put remedy in quotes here, which is to strip away access to a safe, effective FDA-approved medication, or at minimum, severely restrict it in every state in the country, including those with legal protections for abortion.